All right, you know her, you love her, you get excited when she puts something out on Twitter because I see all of you saying, "Whoa, it must be a big deal if Kelly's out here tweeting." She's a national champ, she's an All-American, and an all-around good person, Kelly Braitsch. It's been way too long, Kelly. How you
It
been?
has been. Thank you guys for having me back. I appreciate it.
How does that feel when you put something out on social media, whether it's Courtney or several other Suitor fans out there? It's like, oh my gosh, Kelly just said something. It must be a big deal.
And they do get it. I get a good chuckle because I can't always see all the comments because I go there's like sometimes so many I can't always see them all, and so Courtney will fill me in sometimes. But I love it that I entertain people just by a tweet or an X or whatever they call it now. But
Yeah.
I was really offended. They had such a good game. You got what 4-8 at that time, OSU and Washington. Why would you not have it on? Like they had all the other games on later that day. So, and you know how I am. I root for OSU when they're not playing OU because it's a state school. So,
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Big 12 later on. Four teams in the four teams in the top 10 right now. It's a really good league.
it is.
But it's been emotional around here this week, Kelly. And I love having you on any time, but I definitely wanted to have you on this week because of what's going to happen on Friday. Patty doesn't get emotional a whole lot, but when she gets emotional, it's because something she really cares about has just happened or is about to happen. So Patty got emotional on Tuesday night, not necessarily about Love's Field, but leaving Marita Hines Field. And I'm just curious how you feel because Patty, she raised two kids on that field. She built a national championship program on that field. You played on that field. I mean, a big moments of your life happen there. Like, how do you feel now that OU's not going to be playing at Marita Hines Field anymore?
Well, I mean, as you know, I got spoiled, extra spoiled on it because I won a state championship in
Mhm.
'98 with Broken Arrow there. So that was my first experience of a championship there. Then obviously the following years to continue. It was, we went to the, technical last game there last year, and I took some dirt and kept some dirt and got the little vials and sent them out to some of the teammates that asked me about them. So, man, it is. It's like, when you leave your house at 18, you're like, oh, I'm a grown up now. Now I got to go, move over here. And I did watch Coach. She's a little bit more emotional behind the scenes, I think, sometimes with
Yeah.
things like that. But man, she really let it out, and none of the reporters were easy on her about it either. But it's not only did she raise her boys there, we always like to say the 2000 group likes to say we raised JT there. So DJ was young enough; he just kind of did whatever we told him. But JT was, and so it's a weird closure, but then also it's like, okay, we get to go into this state of the art facility with. I love the scoreboard. I think it's so hysterical that Josie did that for us. Like, because I can hear Coach being like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" And then she sees it and she's like, "Okay, that's sweet." So it's it's hard, but I mean, I know that like they're still going to play some games there. They're not. I think it'll be even harder when they completely tear it down because eventually they will. But I think until then, it's man, it's just try to enjoy it as you can. Anybody who hasn't been by, alumni hasn't been by, man, go see it before it's gone for sure.
Well, I mean, and you just brought up a few moments there, state championship, and of course the 2000 season, your entire career. But when you think of that park, when you think of Marita Hines Field, I guess what immediately comes to mind for you?
Um, I think the changes that we've gone, when we first started, all it was basically a field in the bathroom. That was the first get go, and then and then we got a locker room, and then they after I was gone, of course, they incorporated the indoor, and then they started putting not just the like 6 to 8 bleacher seats in. They put in the big grandstands, and then they put like the really big one right next to short because I used to, if the ball went foul, I used to be able to kind of lean up against the fence and fans would be there, and now it's like really, really high. And so it's awesome to see how it's grown throughout the years and all the hard work that all of the girls have done. And, going all the way back to the girls that played at Reeves, I will always appreciate they had to pick up probably beer cans and cigarette butts, rake their own field. And I've played at Reeves. They're not the best fields, but they did all that for us to get to the stadium with, no locker room. And then we kept going, and now we have this beautiful thing. And it's just, it's probably going to pull at my heartstrings a little bit more when I get down there Saturday. But man, we used to have a chain link fence. My freshman year was a chain link fence. And, you see that at the bigger tournaments these days. You don't really see it. And even like Mary Nutter's got a chain link, but it's got the like advertisement on it. We had the little yellow safety tube so that we like didn't rip our arm or our jersey going over it. And I know girls that have flipped over it and broken a nose. And so it's all the transitions throughout the years, and just to watch how not only softball has grown, but our field has grown. And, luckily now we've outgrown it. So
I was asked an interesting question. I just want to see how you respond to it. So Patty has developed this championship mindset. And what's the championship mindset at OU? Well, I think you can say a lot of different things, but it's a blue-collar mentality that this program has had. Hit a lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts, highlight plays, but there's a blue-collar mentality within the program. And maybe what's helped that blue-collar mentality is maybe you haven't had the best facility in college softball. Now you are moving into the crown jewel of the sport. Do you think in any way that affects the blue-collar mentality, championship mindset whatsoever at all?
No, because coach won't let it.
Yeah.
There has been times throughout which I'm trying to think it was probably, I think 2017. We went down to a game. My mother actually got honored as one of the military, whatever they call that, players of the game, military styles. So they were giving her award. We went inside to see the locker room and the updates, and coach had some of their stuff like lined out in the middle of the locker room. And I said, "Oh, you're still doing that?" And she kind of chuckled. And coach will take away anything from you if you're not working that blue collar that she expects you to work. She will strip you of practice gear. You'll be wearing some plain white tube socks, some plain shorts. T-shirt might have to be inside out because that's the only practice shirt you have. She'll make it where you don't get some of the things that you think you should get because you're not working hard enough. Or, she took our national championship rings away in 2001 because she thought we were getting a little too big for our britches. And she was like, Monday, it was after the Cal State Fullerton tournament, the Kia kickoff. She said, everybody will have their championship rings in my office in the safe Monday. And we were kind of like, what? Like, you got to be kidding me. And she's like, nope. She goes, you're thinking too much about that. We need to focus on this. And I don't think our group ever got our equipment or stuff taken away, but I did hear Heather Scaglione, my best bud, told me that she took away some cleats and different, like you had to wear old game cleats and stuff like that. And she might have even made him go over to Reeves and practice once. I mean, she will keep all that in check. And so I don't think, and she'll also make everybody very appreciative, like, hey, all this past, including some of obviously this team now has gotten us here. You keep pushing forward and it creates it more and more. And then when you can come back, you can look at this and go, oh, look at this. Yeah. So she'll keep them in check. I'm not even worried about that.
I want to hear what you think about this year's team, and a big storyline coming into the year. And I think you and I even talked about it last year. It's who's going to replace Grace Lyons at shortstop. Now, I think Patty even said during the fall that, well, we'll have multiple players at that position to start the year. That really hasn't been the case. It's been TRA, and I think TRA's been pretty good there. So as an All-American shortstop yourself, what have you seen from TRA up to this point defensively that you like, or just kind of your total evaluation up to this point?
I knew after I talked to Coach, there was basically up to 3 people that were going to possibly go there, and Hodge, Brito, and of course Jennings. And I think it kind of she's always very good about like keeping it consistent. She likes to keep it consistent. She'll move people in and out, but I don't think she wanted to move Brito away from third. Obviously Jennings is doing great, and then Hodge over at second. And they have a good chemistry because they've been doing it for so long. But I think Jennings has started out the year really good. I know that was it the last game in the Mary Nutter. I think or the second to last. There was a few errors from the infield that I don't think I've seen in a while, but it's early. You want to get those out now. But other than that, I think she's doing great. I love her quiet leadership that she does. She's not, super yelly or, anything like very vocal. She leaves that for the other girls and she just leads by example. And I think she's doing a great job so far. And I think she'll work out well there.
What about the offense as a whole? Patty kind of voiced, I mean, if you want to call it frustrations after the team went to Louisiana, and I thought they bounced back well at the Mary Nutter this past weekend, but Patty wasn't necessarily happy after the second weekend of the year. Just what do you think overall offensively up to this point from what you've seen?
Well, I mean, I think I don't want to say struggling. I don't think we say struggling because we're used to them just batting 1,000, batting
Blue
900.
blood program problems is what I call it.
Right. So it's also we've set our bar so high that it just because our numbers maybe have dropped 100 points, all of a sudden, everyone's in a panic. I mean, it's early in the season. I'm not too worried about it. Plus, everybody, I think, also is, if you look at the stats across, the top 15 teams, man, they are tearing up some balls. And it becomes easier as you're like, all these seniors that we have, you have all this game footage on them. You can get all of their really, we got to get her this. I don't even remember who it was, got the same pitch like 4 times in a row because the pitcher knew, hey, I need to just get it on this corner here and there's going to be a strike. And she doesn't like that. And so you learn more as you go and, it gets easier. I think for pitchers to defend or other teams to defend against it. And also because we're always on TV, like everybody's on TV now, which is a beautiful thing. And so I think we started a little slow. I'll even go as far as, which Coach Gasso would probably beat me for saying this, but the weather at McNeese, it was, no, I mean, I felt bad for Plank calling the games and watching the people bundled up there. And I want to say, that doesn't matter. Man, when it comes down to it, that it does matter. Your body just doesn't get moving in the same way. I don't want to say you want to complain about it, but I do recall being in Texas when our first tournaments, I think it was my sophomore year, and I thought to myself, this is wrong to have us play in that. And eventually they did end up canceling it. But I think it's a slow start, but it's also good. You don't want to peak yet anyways. So you don't want to be super high because then it's like, where else do you have to go but down? So I think you have all the normal struggles, maybe swinging, pressing a little bit, swinging at pitches we don't typically do. I think that would be the main thing I see is, we, lay off the high ones. We want those rise balls. Rise balls go out of the ballpark really easy. So I think it's just a little fine tuning here and there, and we'll be right back on track and no one will be panicked because we'll be right back on their same numbers too.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go back to preseason storylines, replacing Grace and then what does life look like after Jordy, it's probably 1 and 2. But I like what I've seen in the circle thus far. You've had, 6 pitchers who I think have all performed at a pretty high level. And I still think there's this thought out there because I've heard it like, well, I don't know if OU has an ace or they're going to have an ace that can carry this team to a national championship like Jordy did. Well, maybe they don't need that with the defense and the offense they have. I really like Kelly Maxwell, though. I really like Kelly Maxwell. As a starter in relief, she's been good in both of those spots. What have you seen overall from Kelly and just the pitchers as a whole up to this point?
Well, I'm really excited about, we had 2, maybe 3 pitchers go and usually had just 2 of them rotated in and out, So to have 6, man, that's awesome. But I think, we've talked about pitch by committee. That's kind of the thing it's become. I mean, everybody's doing it. I think McNeese and was it Lamar? They were switching pitchers like every other inning.
Yep.
And so I think it's kind of what the world's become. I absolutely love the addition of Kelly Maxwell. I know I talked about her last year when we were playing them and how nice she was out there at that steaks that they were cooking for us. Yeah. Had no idea that this would be the way it ended up, with her leaving and then coming here. But I think she's had a great transition. I think she's pitching lights out. I think she's pitching more comfortable than she was. I think maybe she was pressing a little bit in the fall last year when I did see a few things. SJ coming out, tearing it up. I know that's got to be difficult for her because she sat for a whole year with a red shirt, and your anticipation. I love what Coach did. She was like, I just got her out there for a few batters and I pulled her right back, give her a little, nibble, and then sent her back out the next day. And I mean, she dominated. K Deal obviously is coming in, rocking it. May's May, steady Eddie May, who, you're just, she just goes out and does her thing. And the Wisconsin Wonder, which I happen to love that nickname. My mom's side of the family is all from Wisconsin.
Okay.
So to have the Wisconsin Wonder on the team, I love it. I mean, they're just, I think everyone's doing great. Keeney, is it Keeney? Is that how you say your last name? Okay. Got to make sure I say those last names right. So yeah, Keeney come in and I mean, doesn't look like the pressure that I would assume she would have. And so I think everyone's just really confident. Of course, you have the best pitching coach ever in Jen Rocha, who I always talk about. She is like, I don't know if I've ever heard her yell. Like she's not, she's all coaches have different techniques, but she's just like super soft spoken. So I can just see her being very therapeutic if you're getting hyped up and stuff. So I mean, I think we're going to have different star studs at different times, and all of them, all six are going to impress you by the end, and you're not going to know who the lead is. I'd only say our ace right now would be May, just because she's been here the longest, Sure. So, but I mean, I'm stoked with this because if you're just having a bad day, we all have a bad day anytime, but with pitchers, it can come and go just for no reason. So now you have 5 other people to say, hey, I got you.
I just love the approach that this program has taken during the regular season with pitchers. She'll throw 5-6 pitchers, and that gets 5-6 pitchers legitimate experience. And it's not like maybe Maxwell starts on Friday, maybe May starts on Saturday, but whoever your 5th and 6th are, Kelli, Patty's still putting those pitchers in tough situations. It's not just we're up 10 in the 4th inning. No, like SJ's first action was against McNeese State, I think, in a close game that first weekend. Like, it was her first action. It was in a tough scenario there. I like it for that, to get 5-6 pitchers legitimate experience throughout the year, because you never know what's going to happen in postseason. But maybe more than anything, I like it that it keeps everyone fresh going into the postseason, because there's teams out there, they've got their ace, they've got a solid number 2 and maybe a number 3 that they like to pitch as well. But they so many innings throughout the year, hottest time of the year, maybe you get fatigued. I rarely ever see that with OU when it comes to the postseason, because they spread the wealth out so much throughout the regular season.
Well, and Coach has talked about Paige Parker, that I think she said in one of the last press conferences, she's like, I almost killed the girl. She goes, I just, she did it. She obviously did it very well. But I liked, especially down in Puerto Vallarta, that they had I think Kelli pitched to 2, and then our Wisconsin Wonder came and pitched for 2, and it almost looked like a baseball game. Yep. I think that maybe it was lefty on lefty type situation, and I was just like, this, even for us, that was a little unique. But hey, Coach said, I've got them. Why not I use them all and be a little bit more strategic with my gameplay? And then you never know. You have 6 people that you have to scout and figure out what they pitch and what their go-tos are. And I mean, that it wasn't easy to do it with 2 or 3. It's definitely not going to be easy to do it with 6.
I don't know if you've realized the storyline or not. Not a lot of people are talking about it. It's a very small storyline. OU's on a small winning streak right now, 67 games. I wouldn't fault you if you haven't seen that, because not very many people are talking about it right now. But 67 games, it's just insane. And the way that I'm approaching it, Kelli, and I'm not the one that has to live with the pressure of that game in and game out, so it's easy for me. But I just think that this is a record. Whatever the number ends up being, it's never going to be broken again in college softball. So I'm just choosing to enjoy the moment and recognize that this is probably something that we're never going to see again in the sport. How do you think Patty, how do you think she handles this 67-game win streak, what she tells the team? What does it look like from inside the locker room, I guess?
I think initially with the original record, it was a little pressing. I could tell by the way Coach would talk about it and stuff like that. It's, it's like the old baseball myth. I'm on a hitting streak. Shh, don't talk about it. I think once they did it and they got a few games past it, that was last season. I know all the fans keep up with it, but all the players think, okay, this is kind of our preseason before our conference season. And I don't want to say they don't really pay attention to it, but it's kind of gone so far past the record-breaking thing. It's Plus, I know most athletes, as hard as it is for fans to hear, you like to lose a game every once in a while because you want to remember what it's like to sting and to be angry about it. Whether you play a great game and get beat or you forgot to show up that day, losing is not as bad as everybody thinks it is. And, with all the teams this year, Big 12 especially, man, we're going to have, obviously Texas, and we play a 3-game series. Back in the day, we played a 2-game series. It was a little easier. Those 3-game series are hard to win. I could probably guarantee you would always win at least 2, or more than likely win at least 2. But when you start going to that 3rd game and everybody's seen everybody, no matter if you're Texas or whoever else, it's difficult. And I mean, I definitely think OSU's really got it going on this year. Texas obviously is doing great. Baylor has done some upsets. Kansas ended up beating Texas A&M the other day, who was undefeated. So, I mean, we got a lot of nitty gritty and sleepers. I like to call them sneaky sleepers that will come in. If you ain't on your game that day, they're going to bite you. So I would be surprised if we made it through Big 12 without losing maybe 2 or 3 games, because they're 3-game series though. If they were just 2 games, I'd be like, now we're good. But it's a nice record to have, but I can tell you that coach doesn't really care about it. The girls probably don't really care about it. It's a bragging right, but at the end of the year, they want to walk out national championships and winning that last game like they have the last 3.
We haven't talked about this individual player yet, and I wanted to with you because I'm a huge fan. I know you're a huge fan too, but you're trailing Washington. You need a big hit. So I guess actually this was an extra innings. 2 outs, runner at third base, you need a hit. Guess who's up? Riley Boone. Guess what happened? She gets a hit. Feels like every time Riley Boone is up at the plate with 2 outs, she's going to come through and she's going to get a hit. She constantly brings energy to the team. And maybe people around here, even people nationally, when they think of this team, they think of Tiare, they think of Kinsey, they think of Jada. Maybe that's the first thing to think about. But I love some Riley Boone. And I think that she is just such a valuable piece of all of this because of what she brings with 2 outs and on the base pass, at the plate, defensively. She's just, how can you not love Riley Boone? How can you not? I think everyone does love Riley Boone, yourself included, I'm sure.
Well, she's the Oklahoma girl too,
yeah.
And she's not too far away from Broken Arrow where we're from. So, I think always and ever your slappers, which obviously I know she doesn't always slap because she can hit some home runs, but even your slappers, your power slappers, your bunters, they get overshadowed by those big hits. And I mean, but she can do so much because when you step in that box, who knows? Power slap, high slap, bunt, hit a ball out, a double, hit it over the fence. And so I'm sure she likes flying under the radar like that because then she kind of maybe even gets forgotten. And if you're forgotten from another team, perfect, because you're going to do that much more damage to that team. And, I use Steady Eddie a lot too, but she's also one of those that she's so consistent and obviously consistent enough. Jada started the year out a little slow. And so coach is like, I'm going to throw her up in the leadoff spot. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of it is her in the leadoff spot, Jada in the leadoff spot, win-win either way. So the rotation, which, back in the day, Christy Ring, Aaron Evans, and I would rotate back and forth like that in the same manner that she's doing right now. So it's better gameplay. Hey, if someone's just fallen off a little bit, okay, I'm going to switch her here. And it just goes to show that 1 through 9 will bite you at any time. And I love her. I love her passion and her enthusiasm for the game. She's so much fun to watch. Her mother's hysterical. If nobody knows her mother, follow her on Twitter and watch for her at the games. She's so funny.
Last one I got for you. Who else has caught your eye? Because these newcomers are pretty good in the circle, in the lineup as well. I think Ella Parker had a really good Sunday this past week. Who's caught your eye of someone that maybe we haven't discussed yet?
Ooh, man, the freshmen are really Pickering's doing great.
Yes, she is.
I've seen all this who's going to hit the first home run, and everyone gives all your normal names. Yeah, Hanson, of course, is probably the biggest one, and I'm thinking it might be Bland or initially I said Bland, so I'm going to go with Bland. Just she's got I call her Baby Aloe from the left side, because if you look at her when she swings, she reminds me of Aloe as a freshman. Like they have the same kind of look to her, but man, Pickering's been doing really good. I almost feel like some of the pitchers this weekend might really pitch around some of our known big hitters. So it's going to be that I'll say underdog, maybe even Boone. They're gonna forget about. They're gonna be focused so much on all the ones you hear all the time hitting those home runs that a freshman or maybe even Boone gets up there and is like, I got this. So, I mean, but I'm impressed with Bland and Pickering right now, and I know they're kind of rotating in and out. But I wouldn't want to pitch to Pickering just because if you watch her when she's in her at bat, and I think Coach talked a little bit about it, she doesn't look like her age. You can see the focus when she gets up there, what she's looking at before she steps in the box, how calm she is. And she's probably just one of those people. Aloe is the same way. She's just easy, like nothing ever really super excites her or anything like that. And then she gets in there and just evaluates it all and then crushes it. Single, double, home run, whatever, crushes it. So those are my two go-to right now for home runs at Loves.
I like it. And I was not in any way trying to put any extra pressure on her, but when you hit a grand slam in your first ever at bat as a true freshman, first off, if you're good enough as a true freshman to break in the lineup with where OU's at right now, you're good. Yep. And then you hit a grand slam your first at bat. I almost took it as, all right, is this a sign that she's kind of next? Like the names that we're going to be talking about next after TRA and Jada and Kinsey and of course Riley Boone are gone. It's like, that kind of feels like it's going to be a hint for future years. Like Cassidy Pickering is going to be one of the main faces of the program. It's hard for me not to think that after your first at-bat's a grand slam.
Well, and it's got grand slams are just rare anyways because you got to get those four in front of you. And that's not always easy, especially like with our speed of our team. Sometimes, that's just not an option. So the fact that she stepped in and did it like it was no big thing, I mean, that just goes to show I can't imagine what she's going to be like as a senior because she's going to have all that extra knowledge now and then hopefully still that calm attitude. She is going to tear it up, and I look forward to it so much.
So you're going on Saturday. Saturday will be your first trip to Loves Field.
Yes. We got, thank God, my aunt, who's been a season ticket holder since 97, when Marita Hines opened. Yeah, everyone knows where my aunt sits because she's the blonde right behind the backstop. So she was able to get 4 season tickets. So I actually got season tickets this year. Thank God for my Auntie Faye. And so we'll be out at every Saturday game that we can. Section 13, if anybody wants to come see us. Everyone knows my aunt, so I know they'll see her and then they'll find me.
Section 13 where the party's at. Maybe you'll see Kelli on TV. Unless Terry Price is sitting behind the plate, and he's the only one that you can ever see because he's so tall. It's like, there's Terry sitting right there.
That's true. Or my buddy Julia seems to always get on TV too. She was at the basketball game last night and got captured a few different times with our big win last night in basketball. So one of them two will probably catch it.
Yeah, Lexi Keys for 3. She's an OU Texas legend now. That was amazing. Kelli, you're the best. I love it. I know everyone else loves it as well. We got to do this more often. I'll bug you more often to come on here and talk softball. But seriously, thank you for every single time you come on here. It's always the best.
Well, thank you guys. I'm really sad I didn't get to go out and see all of my West Coast friends that we met last year, or some from Wyoming and all around. I was super sad. Told them I'll be out there next year. That way I can get a little better breakdown of the Mary Nutter. So I hope to see you this weekend, Saturday.
Yeah. I'll try to be out there for sure. Yeah. Kelli Braitsch, national champ, All-American, all around, just awesome individual as well. As always, we appreciate her time.
Thank you. Boomer Sooner, guys.